Today, we're gonna make lightning strike again. First, we're taking Ford's latest version of their F-150 out for a road test. Then, with the help of Roush Performance, we'll turn it into our own version of a supercharged lightning. That's all today, here on Trucks.
Hey, welcome to Trucks. Well, a while ago, we got our hands on a brand new 2007 Chevy Silverado. We tested it out and gave you guys our impressions of it. And we told you right off the bat that we're going to be testing a lot of brand new trucks and letting you know what we think.
Well, now it's Ford's turn. And we've got our hands on this regular cab 07 F-150 two-wheel drive pickup truck that we're going to put through its paces. And just like we promised, we're going to tell you the truth about it.
The F-150 is probably the best-selling production truck ever made and has proven itself on and off-road many times over. Throughout Ford's history of groundbreaking innovations, performance was always a main focus, even introducing the popular and ground-pounding Lightning in 1993.
Sadly, the Lightning was discontinued in 2004, despite its huge popularity with enthusiasts and its legendary performance.
Now, I know a lot of you guys are feeling like we are, and you're dying for a new version of a Lightning. Well, we're going to do something about it, with or without Ford, but we'll talk more about that later.
But for now, let's check out the truck we've got the keys to. And there's no better way to check out a new vehicle than take it out for a little road test.
Our truck came stock with all the standard features: power windows, door locks, climate control, power rack and pinion steering, and a fully boxed frame for extra rigidity and better handling.
Now, one of the options includes the 300 horsepower 5.4-liter 3-valve engine, which is the foundation for the new Shelby Mustang that pushes out over 450 horsepower.
Now, your Shelby's not capable of running E85, but this truck is, and that's going to give you an option at the pump.
But enough about that. For now, let's see what this truck will do bone stock.
Now, we don't need a hyper pack to tell us that this truck absolutely refuses to do a good burnout.
Action. That was lame. What was that?
But the hyper pack will tell us things like 0 to 60.
Our truck rang up an unimpressive 8.6 second time and labored through the quarter to a 16.4 second, 86 mile an hour posting on the hyper pack.
With disc brakes all around, this truck stops pretty well.
All right, what do you got?
140 feet.
Wow. Feels a little spongy.
Yeah, she's got some body roll, doesn't she?
Yep. Well, overall, we like the F-150. We found it a little sluggish in the mid-range, a bit spongy, and a tad grandpa in the styling department. But all in all, it's a nice truck, especially for the price. The base model comes in at around $22,000. Ours rang in at just over $28,000, loaded up with some pretty decent options. But no matter how you cut it, this is still no Lightning, and it really did leave us wanting more. So with the help of Roush Performance, we're going to fill the void that Ford has left us without a Lightning and walk you guys through what it takes to build your own version of a Stage 3 truck. And this is the heart of the Stage 3 kit. It's their Roush-style supercharger that lets us bolt on 145 horsepower and makes our 5.4-liter engine capable of 500 foot-pounds of torque. It's a 50-state legal in-the-valley supercharger system that integrates the intercooler into the manifold base. It's a complete system that ships with new colder range plugs, heavier injectors, a manifold plenum adapter, electric water pump, heat exchanger, and all the pulleys, brackets, and hardware that you need to install this at home with simple tools. But one of the issues with throwing a supercharger on a stock engine is the extra pressure that the charger and belt puts on the crankshaft, and more importantly, the #1 bearing up front, and that can actually cause premature bearing wear. Well, Roush has solved this problem with their new damper pulley adapter and this second sheave bracket system that actually distributes that new load amongst the supercharger and all the drive accessories.
Now here's the stock intake. It comes off pretty easily with basic tools. Now we also had to remove the fan and shroud, the alternator, fuel rail, throttle body, as well as the air intake system and the serpentine belt. Now Roush feels confident enough in this system to back up Ford's 3-year, 36,000-mile powertrain warranty that covers your engine, transmission, the rear end, plus the transfer case if you got a 4-wheel drive, even if you do it yourself.
First, the plugs are swapped for a cooler range to allow increased cylinder pressure and temperature. There's a simple wiring modification that taps into an existing vehicle circuit and will control the supercharger bypass. Power steering reservoir is modified and relocates with a supplied bracket to make room for the new blower manifold. The heat exchanger slips between the radiator and the grille and is bolted to the upper tie bar on the support. The electric coolant pump mounts on the frame rail and is wired into a key-on circuit for constant flow of coolant. The lower charger pulley piggybacks and bolts right onto the balancer.
When we come back, we'll finish up our Supercharger install. And then we'll show you what's on the inside of a true performance muffler.
Hey, welcome back to Trucks. We're taking one of the most popular pickup trucks ever built and beefing it up big time. We're also filling the void that Ford left us with when they shelved their Lightning series by throwing Roush's Stage 3 performance package at this 2007 Ford F-150. Now, let's get back to our project. Larger injectors are installed onto the stock fuel rail, and it's very important that they're clocked to 90 degrees to the rail. Leaving this step out could cause you rough idle and fuel delivery problems at wide open throttle. The stock throttle body sits on the blower using a new adapter. And the new lower manifold base reuses the stock 5.4 gaskets. The coolant crossover is dropped in, and the coolant hoses are rerouted. And finally, the supercharger is set in place and torqued to spec. Next, the alternator is reinstalled, followed by Roush's new pulley bridge that redistributes the increased belt pressure amongst all the accessories.
Now, according to some people, less is more. But here on Trucks, we think more is more. So we dropped on this Roush Charger top-end package that's the heart of this proven and tested 445 horsepower system. Now, Roush surprised us a little bit, and they just started offering the smaller diameter pulley that'll increase boost levels a little bit and have us flirting with 500 horsepower. Now, once you get your Roush Charger bolted down, there are a few other details you've got to attend to.
The pulley and belt from the new blower adds about 2 inches to the front of the drive assembly, so the stock shroud needs to be trimmed back for clearance. A cutoff wheel works great, but a reciprocating saw or a handsaw would work fine too. Now, this entire install took us about 10 hours, so if you're going to do this at home, plan on having your truck out of service for a couple of days. But trust us, it will be worth the wait. You can't expect to throw a huffer on an engine and not allow the rest of the system to breathe a little deeper. Roush reuses Ford's mass airflow sensor, but gets rid of this small filtered restrictive air box and, quite frankly, silly-looking ductwork in exchange for a much larger air box and this huge air filter that's going to really allow this thing to flow a lot more CFM.
Now, Roush engineers found that with their system, installing a set of headers only offered minimal power gains, so they rolled with the stock exhaust manifolds, and they just re-engineered the exhaust with this stainless catback system that'll open up the airways, seriously increase efficiency and scavenging, and add a throaty exhaust note.
Well, instead of telling you why this muffler flows so good, we thought we'd show you. Now, this is obviously a flow-through design with almost no restriction, but this muffler is quiet enough at idle to meet the OE mandates for noise.
Even though the stock exhaust is also stainless, this system splits off into duals that exit out the back in classic muscle truck style for better performance, sound, and, well, the stainless tips, they don't hurt our eyes either.
Now, part of the whole vibe of Roush's Stage 3 truck is its wicked stance, and it doesn't happen by accident either. Now, the stock suspension on any truck is a compromise between ride quality and handling performance. But let's face it, if you're buying a Stage 3 or building one like we are, it's all about handling. More importantly, getting the power to the pavement and looking good while doing it.
Now, a lot of the stock suspension parts are going to be replaced by the Roush system. So now that we've got the truck up in the air and all this great access, it's a perfect time to remove some of these pieces, box them up, get them ready for the internet auction.
After the break, it's time for a much better ride with a little suspension work. Stick around.
Hey, welcome back to Trucks. And thanks for sticking with us while we show you how to transform a tame stock F-150 into a Roush Stage 3 Street Fighter. And we've already taken care of throwing some famous Roush muscle under the hood with their root-style blower, free-flow induction system, and their high-flow stainless steel catback exhaust system. And we've given ourselves enough power and torque to go toe-to-toe with just about any Lightning.
Now we're going to get this thing into the weeds, get some of that 5,000 odd pounds into a lower roll center so this truck will handle. Out back, it's pretty easy to get about 3 inches of drop from a set of D-arch springs, and we can stiffen it up pretty good with some custom-tuned shocks.
Ready?
Yep.
Even with 3 inches of drop, there's still plenty of room in the wheel well for suspension travel, so you can still haul cargo, just a whole lot faster now.
Now up front, it's a little more involved, but still doable in your driveway with jack stands and hand tools. Now this system comes with specially valved shocks to Roush's specs, coilover springs, and this monster sway bar to help get rid of some of that crazy body roll we got with the stock setup. Now you'll need to reuse your stock upper and lower spring mounts to assemble your new coilover. But don't just start unbolting things. There is a lot of stored energy in this coil spring, and you could get seriously hurt releasing it all at once. Now, in case you don't have a spring or strut compressor, here's an easy way to swap out springs on a system like this without fancy tools.
So with the stock strut assembly bolted in, support the lower control arm with a floor jack and compress it a few inches. Disconnect the steering knuckle at the ball joint and remove the center nut on the strut from the top. And slowly lower the floor jack to release the tension and separate the strut from the upper strut mount.
Now, as you can see, these springs are gonna give us some drop, about 2 inches according to Roush. And since they're progressively wound, they'll give us a good balance between ride and handling.
With the lower spring seat removed, the base for the new spring slides onto the new shock, followed by the seat, the cap, and the bump stop. And finally, the new coil spring drops onto the seat.
This is actually just a little more work than if you had a strut compressor. But a good strut compressor can cost hundreds of dollars. And you can do it this way in your driveway and do it safely.
Between the lower center of gravity on the truck and this giant sway bar, body roll should be a distant memory. The stock F-150 has room for 20s. They'll just look a lot cooler with our truck lowered down like it is. So we're using these cast aluminum chrome-plated 20 by 8.5-inch wheels wrapped by these respectable 285/55R 20-inch BF Goodrich directional tires. Now this is the wheel and tire package that you get on a Roush Stage 3 truck. But with 500 ponies under the hood, it's anybody's guess as to whether these things are going to hook up. Me, I'm betting against the tires.
Up next, the right performance has got to have the right look. So we'll finish off our truck when we get back.
Hey, welcome back. Now, if you're installing your own Roush charger on your vehicle, they'll provide you with an overnight prepaid package so you can send your engine's PCM back to Roush for a reflash. Turnaround time's only about 48 hours, and for us, they were right on time.
Nice. Now you guys know a truck is really just a solid hot rod platform with V8 power and rear wheel drive. And here's your proof. A blown 445 horse F-150 using Roush's Stage 3 setup, or 500 horsepower using their smaller pulley upgrade like we are. But it still needs to look as tough as it is, and Roush has us covered there as well.
Everything that Roush offers, their molded parts, their painted pieces, all of it is handled in-house and guaranteed to fit your vehicle with no worries. So making a visual statement strong enough to back up Roush's performance reputation, no problem here.
Now, they really thought through the appearance package they use in the Stage 3 trucks. And although these parts technically do little to nothing for performance, the addition of just a few bolt-on items really transforms this truck and gives it an aggressive attitude without sacrificing function.
And speaking of function, the navigation system takes about 5 minutes to install. Doesn't interfere with any vision, and it'll find us a great restaurant at lunchtime. And fire it up, see what it sounds like. Oh yeah! Well, it sounds good, it looks good, kick it, see what it'll do. Well, if Ryan ever comes back with a truck, we're going to take you guys with us next time we drive it. Pay it off proper. See what that Stage 3 will do. Stay watching. Come back, Ryan!
Hey, how many times has your tailgate slipped out of your hands and come crashing down? Well, DZ has a solution for you. It's called the Easy Down. And check this out. Now, these simple but effective kits include the damper, the hardware, and even the tools needed to install them. You can get one of these on your truck in about 10 minutes. They've got them for full-size Dodge, Chevy, and Ford pickups, and they'll only set you back about 50 bucks.
The price of fuel just seems to keep going up and up and up. But here's 5 easy things that you can do to get better fuel economy that won't cost you anything. Air is free, but an underinflated set of tires can rob you of a couple miles per gallon just driving around. And did you know that for every 500 pounds of extra cargo weight that you're carrying around in your pickup, well, that can rob you of 2 to 5 miles per gallon. So if you got some stuff bouncing around in the back of your truck, unload it and save some money. A dirty air filter will rob you of a mile per gallon at highway speeds. And if you're pulling a big load, put it on a trailer and don't stack it up high on your truck. Decreased wind resistance is increased fuel economy. NASCAR proves that every week. And lastly, you don't have to warm your vehicle up. Start it up, get the oil circulating, and then get on the road. Because remember, if you're not moving, there is no miles per gallon. Thanks for watching Trucks. We'll see you guys next week.